Hello to my internet friends and to the five of us who remembered the Gone series by Michael Grant. Hi, I'm so glad you made it. Don't worry, I'll catch you up really quickly. You don't have to go back to the beginning or anything. It's going to be fine. I'm Jay. I am feeling really nostalgic for the books I read as a wee lass. I am revisiting the Gone series along with my friend Chelsea, who hated it at the time, and that is a fun dynamic. Previously on Gone by Michael Grant, so Chelsea and I read another 100 pages, and there's a lot to unpack here. So let's get into it. So last we left off, Sam and crew were on the run. It's clear that Kane has it out for Sam, and Perdido Beach is no longer a safe place. So they are on the run. They are kind of like wandering through fields and desert outside of the town, and their travels are actually going to take us to another character who you, my internet friends, have not met yet. So 1 second. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Oh. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Let me show you. Okay, so just give me a second to cut out her picture, but we're about to meet Lana. So my internet friends who are supporting everything I do, you haven't met Lana yet. The five of us who did read Gone are already familiar with Lana. She's been here the whole time. I just didn't find her relevant to bring up until now. This is Lana. I'm gonna scoot. Hold on. This is Lana. Okay, did you see her? Did you get a good look? Okay. Let me show you where Lana is. So Lana, all right, this will hopefully be the last time I have to scoot. So Perdido Beach is here. This is Perdido Beach. And Lana is all the way up here. So she is quite a ways away from town. All you need to know about Lana is she has the power to heal, and she has an adorable golden retriever named Patrick. Those are the only two things. So basically, Lana this whole time has been like wandering through the desert, and she managed to find refuge in a cabin that was previously owned by like a self-sufficient recluse of some sort, and she is kind of like holed up there. Okay, so when Chelsea and I get to Lana's chapter, she's going to bring up some interesting things that happen in her chapter. Let's call them interesting. And when it happens, I just need you to trust me. I just need you to not click away. But we will cross that bridge when we get there. Okay, to my 4 fellow Gone fans, this will mean something to them. We're at the mine shaft part. We've hit the mine shaft. So yes, additional things we will cover in these chapters. We're going to beat Lana, and we're also going to learn a little bit more about what happened to some of the other kids who have superpowers. Okay, and with that, let's cut to past Jay and past Chelsea. Okay, so how did you feel about these 100 pages that we read?
Okay, I think I read a little more than 100 pages.
You did?
But it was great. I will say it seems to progressively get more entertaining. There's been some reveals.
Yeah.
There was a big reveal early on. Computer Jack's chapter, pretty big reveal.
Yes, he's a T-bar. He has powers.
But the big thing is that you can get powers as time goes on. So you may not have powers at the beginning, but you can get powers later, which is interesting. I don't know if any like big characters are going to get powers within this book, but I'm curious if later books some of the bigger characters get powers later on.
I also like the reveal that Computer Jack has powers because it's Diana who discovers it.
I do like Diana, because I mean that's the kind of character, at least that I usually like to write, and that I always enjoy watching, is a conniving, manipulative woman. So it is fun to kind of see her, especially because it's kind of clear that she doesn't. From my perspective, it's clear that she doesn't like Kane, or doesn't care for him. At least she sees his potential, but I think she thinks he's an idiot. But honestly, she's playing her cards well for what she's been given. Also, I'd like the reveal of her backstory. I was kind of waiting for her to just be like, after she reveals like how she lied about her dad pushing her mom down the stairs and everything. And Peter Jack's like, okay, like that wasn't so bad. I mean, it's not great, but like I was waiting for her to just be like, nah, I pushed her. I really wanted to just go that one extra step.
Yeah. One more thing before we move on from that scene is that I liked that in that scene she's really like forcing Computer Jack to confront his role in their evil plot and forcing him to remember that he's complicit. Like Computer Jack says, like, listen, I just write down the names of everyone who has powers. Like I'm not doing anything. I'm just doing what you and Kane tell me to do. Like I'm just kind of like the admin here. She's like, you know what we're doing with those people. You know what we're doing with those lists of names, and I'm noticing and not putting yourself on that list because you know what's going to happen to you. So she's basically forcing him to get on board with the fact that he's on the bad guys team. And I love that so much. That made me feel so
I
good.
loved it too. I mean, this goes into obviously very dark topics. I always forget what they're called. The trials of the Nazis, where they're every defense was like, I was just following orders. I was just following orders. Blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, but you know what those orders are, and like, yes, you could have died if you didn't follow those orders, but that was a choice that you made. I do love that scene to put that in there with Computer Jack, where he's like, just following orders. I don't know what's happening. It's like, no, you do know what's happening. You know what's happening enough to not put your name on the list. And yeah, you're still doing it. You know what's going on. I know what's going on. And you're choosing to do this to save yourself.
Yes.
There's another character that's doing something like that, which we will get into, going by the name of Quinn.
Yeah, Quinn, Quinn wants to be a great guy, but he's not. Yeah. Quinn, I think, is also similarly trying to do what is best for him to survive, but his strategy is flip-flopping.
That's the thing, and it's almost worse. Sam is his best friend, and everybody knows that. So when he throws Sam under the bus, everyone's like, dude. Let's getting into more things. Let me know if you just want to stop me and start going through specific sections. No. But when Lana, which I was happy that they finally got together.
Yes.
When they finally got together, I was like, oh, they're probably gonna put like Lana and Quinn together. And I'm like, well, if they do, hopefully that gets Quinn to calm the fuck down and make a fucking choice. But then I was also like, I would like her and Adelio to get together because I feel like they're not really making Adelio like a real person. Like he's just the gay best friend or the black best friend or something like that, or he's just a side character that has no wants or desires of his own. Yeah. But anyways, I was bringing up Lana because I thought maybe that would help. If they paired them together, that would get Quinn to kind of change. But Quinn, like, first of all, Quinn didn't say anything in Lana's chapter. I kept waiting for Quinn to like make a comment, but he like was silent pretty much her whole entire chapter. I mean, but the thing is with Quinn's characters, he's always the character that just says the worst thing at the worst time.
He's learning, he's evolving. He's like, I see that this is a bad time to speak, so no.
Yeah, I'm just not going to say anything, perhaps. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I feel like Quinn's characters, especially because I'm rewatching Buffy right now. Ooh. And they have a character, Xander. Have you seen Buffy?
Yeah, I've seen Buffy.
Xander's character is kind of like the asshole of the group and just says the thing that nobody wants to hear. And I would say like 50, I'd say like 30 to maybe 60% of the time, it is what they need to hear. Quinn is not that character. Quinn is not saying anything that the audience needs to hear or that anybody needs to hear.
I agree with that, and I think that the route that Michael Grant chooses for Quinn later, which is to put him in less, is the right one. I do end up liking Quinn a lot more, because he ends up playing like a pretty important role in general in the phase, but it is just one that does not require the spotlight, and I think that is perfect for Quinn. But since we've been talking about Lana and how she ends up meeting the gangs, of course we have to kind of talk about the build up to that, which is so how do you feel about the talking coyotes?
Well, I think that was like the first chapter, with 20, wherever we started.
Yeah.
And literally, I was listening to it, and as soon as she was like talking coyotes, I was like, okay, we have fully crossed the line, and now we are doing this. And I will just accept it, I guess. Yeah,
Michael Grant is testing you at every opportunity.
I think I probably would have officially noped out at this point. You know what's interesting though is I kept reading Pack Leader as a woman. Again, possibly because I just watched Lion King too, and the main villain is not Scar, but a female lion who I think was just misunderstood, and she deserved her vision. She was angry and bitter, and she had a right to be angry and bitter. Side story. Ever want to talk about Lion King 2, Simba's Pride? It is the best Lion King, and I can go off and off. The whole mind thing and this mysterious, what's it called? The darkness.
Yeah.
What? I don't know. Actually, no. First of all, sorry, I'm trying to organize my thoughts.
Okay.
I'm going to say first, before we get to the darkness, because I think that's a big topic.
Mm-hmm.
I had a theory, which I don't think is real at all anymore, but during Lana's chapter, I was like, okay, so if I'm going to accept talking animals in this, were the humans turned into animals, or like turned into these coyotes or something like that? Is that why they're all kind of weird or something like that? Or animals of like maybe Patrick's actually like Lana's grandfather or something. I don't know. I was developing a whole theory of like the parents aren't officially gone. They just like turned into animals or something like that. And then I was like, no, that's definitely not it. But fun idea for a second.
Where your head's at, but it's just not correct.
It's just definitely not there. But the idea popped into my head, and I was on that theory for a little while, and then I was like, no.
Did we get in this chapter to the point where Lana met the darkness, or was she met the darkness?
Yeah, like the coyotes brought her to the darkness, and then the darkness said that like I think she like passed out, and then when she woke up she was with the coyotes, and they're like, yeah, the darkness wants us to keep you so you can teach us about the humans.
Because there's a scene, and I don't know if it's even in this book, but there's a scene where she touches the darkness.
I don't think she touches the darkness.
Okay. Then I think I'm remembering something that happened in a different book.
Okay. Oh, also, what I don't get is in the mine there's a body, and I think it's supposed to be the guy who owns the cabin.
Yeah.
How is his body there?
I think he died before the phase started.
So, because that was my thing. I was like, either he died before the phase, but then how did he die? Like, was it the coyotes that killed him? Because it seemed like it was the coyotes that killed him.
I think that they think they said that the coyotes killed when Lana asked them.
So, but then if the coyotes killed him before the phase, were they speaking before the phase?
That is a good question, because I hadn't thought about that. I think it's equally possible that either it was the coyotes maybe were still being influenced by the darkness but couldn't speak yet, and the darkness maybe ordered them to kill Hermit Jim first, or they could have had the ability to talk, because we've already established that Sam and the other Coates kids had been developing powers before the phase started. So I think either theory is possible. I just can't remember which one.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But then that also means that the darkness was a thing before the phase.
Yeah.
There's too much happening.
I know. It's not Game of Thrones. It's definitely not Game of Thrones.
Well, the thing is, it's like Game of Thrones had a lot happening too, but it was like such a developed history, and it was a developed world. But like this is supposed to be a normal California modern town,
Yeah.
and you think it's supposed to be going by, like when they establish it, you think it's supposed to be going by, you know, our rules of physics and law and whatever. And so when that happens, it's like one thing changes, which is what it started with, where it's like, well, actually, no, I lied because it started with powers. So you're like, okay, so there's powers. Oh, but no, now there's no parent. But then there's these animals that have things that they don't normally have, and now they can talk. And then there's the darkness, and then there's the thing. It's like, I don't there's too much happening. And some of it's happening at the same time, and some of it happened before we just didn't know about it, which just seems like they're backtracking.
The world building is quite loose.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to say, is that the world building, it's loose, and the way that the information is coming to us is just like,
it makes it clear that it's not intentional. It makes it clear that this was not planned out from the beginning, which I just find so amusing. Like, as someone who loved these books as a child and was just like willing to let all of these things go, I just find it so funny to revisit and just be like, wow, you really didn't have a plan here. You were really just going.
How many books are there again? I feel like I've asked you.
So in the Gone series, there are 6, and then there's like a second series after that's 3 more books. I did not read the 3 more books.
How did he make so many books?
I know.
I don't understand.
He's written a lot of series.
I mean, I have to hand it to him as a writer. He is writing. Is it good writing? I don't know. But like, it beats me. Like yesterday, I was writing something, and I'm like, this isn't good. I can't finish it because it isn't good, and I don't know where I'm going with it, and so I don't feel like I can keep writing. And clearly, he does not have that problem. And I gotta hand it to him, because if I could overcome that aspect of my writing, I would be golden too.
What would Michael Grant do? The question you have to ask yourself.
I think that may change my whole life right there. What would Michael Grant do? But if I knew it was one book, I'd be really interested in finishing it, because then I'd be like, how are you going to tie everything up? If anything, I would still be interested in coming on here and then you just explaining to me what is happening.
Honestly, I would love that. I would have so much fun with that. I'm glad that you're committing to it, and I have written proof that can be used in a court of law.
Okay. I will say I don't think I will read past this book, but I am curious to how he develops the story.
Okay, that sounds perfect. I love this. I honestly love this idea.
Oh, I also got really nervous when they introduced, what was her name? I'm giving her a name. I don't think her real name is Sierra. But Sierra is not a character, is it?
No.
Okay, I created this person. But the girl, she's unconscious like the whole time. But the girl with the cement blocks who they find, Taylor. I don't know why. Like, I feel like I don't feel like they described how she looked, other than the fact that she was. I think. You know how they described her? They're like, she was pretty without being beautiful.
Oh, I hate that. Written by a white man.
Really written by a white man. I'm just like, what bullshit is that? Like, what? Why do you feel the need to say that?
Why do we need to know that? Also, she's starving. Like, she's starving. She's not gonna be pretty.
I mean, I guess it'd be worse if he was like, she was so thin and beautiful. Okay. I don't know. That line, I literally was like, oh, Jesus. Oh, there's a couple of lines that happen in the chapters that we read that I was like.
So I see you've met Taylor. Okay, so Taylor, another one of the Coates kids. I don't know if it was clear from Chelsea's and my screaming what was happening. I think we kind of like forgot to like give context because we were obviously having big feelings. So basically, how we meet Taylor is that we meaning Sam and his crew, which also now includes Lana. They were traveling along like a desert road, and they came across like a young girl who was passed on the highway. This was Taylor. Taylor was wearing a Coates uniform, and she was unconscious. She was clearly malnourished, and she also had her hands encased in cement blocks. And from there, that is how we make the discovery of what happened to some of the other Coates kids who did not agree to go with Kane.
So since we were talking about Taylor, so Taylor is one of the Coates kids. In this section, we also find out what happened to the Coates kids who were left behind at Coates, like the other Coates kids with powers. And I don't know, how did you feel?
I have to give it to Kane. Cement blocks are innovative. Yeah, the cement blocks are fucking dark. I feel like they could have gone about that in an easier way. Yeah. But you know, if you're going to imprison somebody, I guess cement is the best worst way you could go about it. That was dark. Even afterwards, when Little Pete gets rid of the cement block, which very, very clever, well done by Astrid. But the like the way they describe like their dead hands, like the dead flesh and all of that, I was like, oh my god! Against my will, Michael Grant, I did get emotional when they're like, yeah, Lana's like healing them one by one. I was like, oh, thank God for Lana. Like that was. I'm glad that she is able to heal them, because these are children that are like they've lost the ability to use their hands. And yeah, that was really gross. Oh, and then also when Sam got into the cement block and then he felt like an itch, I was like, oh my god, I think that's the worst thing that could happen. Like not even like losing the ability to feel your hands, but like feeling your hands and having an itch that you know you'll never scratch. Ooh,
I know.
That's terrible. That's dark.
That's one thing that Michael Grant excels at, like cruel and unusual punishments and inflicting them on children. That is like his strength.
Put on his resume. I'm very good at this.
It's very. I mean, I think that's why. Like I just kept reading because I was reflecting on all the media I was consuming at the time, and like Percy Jackson, Hunger Games, like all of these YA books that like, you know, put teenagers and children in danger, like never to that degree, like never to like an extent where I could like feel it in my body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would agree with that, because I feel like in those books it's still like kids can die, but it's usually like they're dead. Sad. But it's like this is like they're not always dying, but it's almost worse than death. Yeah, I will hand it to him with that too. That whole Coates thing was dark. When they tie up Andrew. Yes. The Poof. Yeah, that was interesting. And the reveal that like, so I'm guessing it's the darkness that they're talking to. Well, because it's like he's smiling. So yeah, I think I agree with them where I feel like he's probably seen his mom or something like that, and whoever they've seen when they're about to poof. I don't know if it is real or not. Based off of the chapter, it seems like it isn't real. Like whatever they're seeing isn't what's actually there. And what they caught on camera was like this green thing, which I felt like is the same way that Lana described the darkness. My theory is that they're talking to the darkness and the darkness is tricking them. If that is, I don't know.
Yeah, fuck it. I couldn't figure out if like I should tell you spoilers or tell you when you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, they're talking to the darkness in that moment. I was like, I don't know. We'll see. I'm like, I don't know. I think it's more fun if like you confirm when you're correct.
Because the thing is, it's like again, if we don't know by the end of this book, then I feel like you should just tell me. That scene, I liked it where Kane is just like, so they're seeing something. It's a trick. I wonder if you can say no. Like that's a good way to end the chapter. But then I feel like he added one more sentence that was repetitive, and I'm like, do you not have an editor?
I can find it. I can absolutely find it.
It was like the last word, the last two sentences of the chapter.
So Drake spoke for the first time in a while. So this big blink thing isn't just something that happens. No, there's deception involved, Keen said. A trick, a lie. And it's like, you could have just left it. You could have just, you could just cross out that last tag there. I get it. I see it.
I feel like they totally sort of just reversed it. I don't need to get into that. He clearly knows that more than I do. I am not making that Michael Grant money, but I just feel like he should have rewritten that whole section. He had it all there. He just needed to move it around, and they should have ended the chapter with Kane's like, "I wonder if you can say no." We obviously have already learned it's a trick, but it needs to end on that impact of like, can you say no?
Yeah.
Because that would change everything. That is the answer that they're looking for. Yeah. I'm gonna go off, but
one more big thing that happened, and we kind of skated around it. So the big things I wanted to talk about were Lana and the coyotes, because that was like the last big weird thing that I knew you were not gonna love. The plaster stuff, the poof stuff, Diana and Jack, and towards the end of the section that we read, when Sam's hands are being plastered and all the people around them are being plastered, and little Pete magically like poofs all the all of the blocks away, the chapter ends with Drake's arm getting burned when Sam shoots his light at Drake's arm. Ooh! How did you feel?
Yes. I feel like he missed. Well, he actually. Okay. Well, actually, double check me because apparently I'm rewriting things in my head.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Sam's like, I missed. I was aiming for his head.
He did. Yes.
And I felt that. I was just like, you did miss. You should have burned a hole through him. But I guess it's better to keep him alive and, show him being like fucking angry, or show Drake just trying to learn who have a redemption story now that he has to figure out who he is without his arm. I don't know. I don't know what he's gonna do with Drake's character, but I'm like, I feel like at this point he should have just killed him. But
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm like very into Sam killing people right now.
Yeah.
But I do think it was a good job. He at least maimed someone.
Yeah. And I mean, you'll see. You'll see what he does with Drake.
That's okay. I'm looking forward to it. I feel like it would have been, if I had gotten my wish, it would have been pretty anticlimactic for an end for Drake. So perhaps not. But did love that scene. Also, because we were talking about cement blocks, Petey, he doesn't seem like he's using his hands at all. It seems like he just thinks it and it happens.
I know.
That goes against the theory that everything is connected to the hands. At least he doesn't seem like he is part of any like.
Yeah, it's frustrating because you find out that not all the powers are focused on hands anyway, but Michael Grant kind of tries to make it seem like they're still channeled through their hands. Like there's one character that we're gonna meet that runs super fast, but in a later book, there's like kind of a line that he throws in to say, no, she channels it through her hands, because when she runs, she does like, I don't know, she does like something with her hand motions to make it, which I don't know. I don't agree with it. I think it's a little, I think you just threw that in there to explain this big flaw in your world building. But I think what I would say is that little Pete is just like, in his infinite power, does not need hands as the vessel.
I mean, I feel like, especially at this point in the book, like it's easy to just be like, oh no, Kane was just wrong. Like, yeah, a lot of them are powered through their hands, but not all of them.
Yeah.
That's fine to say. Like, we don't have to. They're kids; they don't have to know all the rules. But like, once something is proven wrong, like you need to stand by that. Don't be like, oh no, it is. They're right. It is triggered by the hands. Except for some of these people, and she can run fast, but actually it is still triggered. Like, don't do that. Just be like, no, it's not all triggered by your hands. That's,
you know what? There's another character that you're not gonna meet in this book, but his power was not channeled through his hands either, and so explain that to me, Michael Grant.
What's his power? Because if he's not in
Okay,
this book,
so he had the power to like change the density of his body, so he could either make himself
go on.
the power to make him so super dense, like so dense and heavy that he could like he was heavy enough to crack through the foundation of a floor, or he can make his density so light that he can float in the air. That was his power.
All right. Well, I hope that's useful.
I can sense that you're never going to take a recommendation from me ever again. Like I can sense that my opinion on books and TV shows doesn't matter from here on out.
No, because you've redeemed yourself with other books. And the fact that you read this, because again, you're the only person I know that has read this. So that already, I'm like, our childhoods align.
Yeah.
Our tastes may not align, but our childhoods do. And that is more important.
Okay. Any other notes and thoughts?
I don't think so. I'm sure as soon as I hang up, I'll remember a whole bunch of stuff, but I am excited because it seems like Sam is coming to town with an army. He's gonna do coup. He's taken over the government, and he's got people with powers that are gonna do it.
Yes, I'm very excited to talk about it with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So the story continues. I don't really have a lot to say in terms of closing. So we have one more video covering the first book, Gone, by Michael Grant. I'm really trying to get these last two videos out because I do have something else very exciting planned for the later half of October, so I do want to fit everything in. Chelsea will not be continuing reading the Gone series along with me, but what's going to happen for future books is that basically I'm going to just recap what the heck is happening to her and just get her reactions. Some of those sessions have already been recorded and they're really fun, so I'm looking forward to sharing them with you one day. Just be patient, they take a long time to edit. Before we wrap up, I think it's only fitting that we add our new faces to the character board. 1 second. Okay, so a problem that I will solve later is that I don't have enough push pins. So right now we got some people who are sharing. 1 second, I think I have a solution. I came back with art supplies. Okay, so let's officially add Lana and Taylor to the board. We're so excited to have you. I also managed to license a picture for Kane. Oh, I'm too far away. 1 second. Oh, I hate going up to the camera. This is a really cute one. I was so excited when the artist responded to me. Ta-da! We'll just put this down. It's fine. One of these days I'll get the board to look exactly how I want it to, but it is looking a little work in progress-y right now. I understand that. I'm working on it. This is all I have for you right now. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I cannot wait to see you for the final video in Chelsea and Jay reread Gone by Michael Grant. Roll artist credits. Bye. Hello, it is VoiceOver Jay with those artist credits. So from the bottom of my heart, shout out to the following artists for contributing fan art to these videos. I so appreciate you. Shout outs to Charlie at ABJLK. This is not the last you will see of Charlie. They have licensed quite a bit of fan art to me, and I can't wait for you to see all of it. As well as Evelme, Stella at Phase Art 136, and Gone Series Orchid. Please show these artists some love, follow them on social media, etc. And until next time, we don't have like a fun like catchphrase in the Gone fandom, so we will see you later. But we will see you later, and we are so happy to be taking you on this journey with Chelsea. Okay, bye.